Have you ever felt like your heart was shattered into 1,000 pieces, each fragment a reminder of a love that once felt so alive? I know that ache all too well, the kind that keeps you awake at night, replaying every moment, every word, wondering where it all went wrong. A few years ago, I went through a breakup that left me feeling like I'd lost a part of myself. I'd see couples laughing in the park, and it felt like a knife twisting in my chest. I'd wake up each morning with this heavy emptiness, as if the person I loved had taken all my light with them. If you're watching this, I'm guessing you've felt that pain too, the kind that makes you question if you'll ever feel whole again. Breakups aren't just about losing a partner, they're about losing a piece of who you thought you were, and that pain can linger, haunting you like a shadow you can't escape. But what if I told you there's a way to heal, not just to move on, but to rediscover a version of yourself that's stronger, wiser, and more connected to your true essence? That's what brought me to Carl Jung, a brilliant thinker who understood the depths of the human heart. Jung believed that our pain, even the agony of a breakup, isn't random. It's a signal from our unconscious, urging us to grow, to heal, to become whole. Jung introduced a concept called the shadow, which is all the parts of ourselves we've hidden away, the fears, the insecurities, the emotions we don't want to face. After my breakup, I realized my shadow was full of things I'd ignored for years. The fear of being unlovable, the shame of not being enough, the anger I'd buried deep. Jung said that when we go through something as shattering as a breakup, these shadow parts rise to the surface, demanding to be seen. It's why you might feel so lost, so raw, because your unconscious is trying to tell you something. It's like the pain is a messenger knocking on the door of your heart, asking you to listen. I remember sitting in my apartment surrounded by memories of my ex, photos, gifts, little notes we'd written to each other. I felt like I was drowning in grief, unable to let go. I kept asking myself, why can't I move on? Why does this hurt so much? It was like I was stuck in a loop, replaying our last fight, wondering if I could have done something differently. Maybe you felt that too, like you're carrying a weight that won't lift, no matter how hard you try. Jung would say that weight isn't just about your ex. It's about the parts of yourself you've been avoiding, the parts that need your attention now more than ever. Think of Neo in the Matrix, trapped in a world he thought was real until he woke up to the truth. A breakup can feel like that, a painful awakening, forcing you to see things you've ignored. But here's the thing, that awakening, as hard as it is, can lead you to a kind of healing you never thought possible. Jung called this process individuation, a journey to become your true self. So, what does that journey look like after a breakup? How do you start to heal your heart when it feels so broken? Let's explore that together. When I first started looking into Carl Jung's ideas, I wasn't sure what to expect. I was hurting, and all I wanted was to feel whole again. But what I found was more than just a way to get over my breakup. It was a path to rediscover myself in a way I never had before. Jung believed that healing after a breakup isn't just about letting go of the past. It's about integrating the parts of yourself that the pain has brought to light. And the benefits of that process are profound, not just for your heart, but for your entire life. One of the first things Jung taught me was the importance of facing my shadow, the parts of myself I'd buried because they felt too messy, too painful to confront. After my breakup, I realized I'd been hiding so much. The fear that I wasn't good enough, the anger at myself for staying in a relationship that wasn't working, the grief I'd never let myself feel for past losses. Jung said that when we integrate these shadow parts, we find a kind of freedom we didn't know was possible. For me, that meant sitting with those feelings instead of running from them. I started journaling about my insecurities, letting myself feel the anger, the sadness, even the shame. And something incredible happened. The more I accepted those parts of myself, the lighter I felt. It was like I'd been carrying a heavy bag for years, and I was finally setting it down. Jung called this journey individuation, the process of becoming your truest self. When you heal your heart this way, you're not just moving on from your ex. You're stepping into a version of yourself that's more authentic, more whole. I remember the moment I felt this shift. A few months after my breakup, I was walking through a park I used to visit with my ex. For the first time, I didn't feel that familiar pang of sadness. Instead, I felt a quiet strength, like I was finally standing on my own 2 feet. I realized I wasn't defined by that relationship anymore. I was defined by who I was becoming. Jung would say, that's what happens when you heal. You stop living by other people's expectations and start living as your true self. Another beautiful thing Jung talked about is synchronicity, the idea that when you align with your true self, the universe starts to support you in unexpected ways. After I began focusing on healing, I noticed little things changing. I'd meet people who seemed to understand my journey, friends who encouraged me to pursue my passions, even opportunities that felt like they were meant to be. It was like the world was reflecting my inner growth back to me. I think of Santiago in The Alchemist, who followed his heart and found the universe conspiring to help him. Healing your heart after a breakup can feel like that, a journey where every step brings you closer to a life that feels truly yours. For me, one of the biggest benefits was rediscovering my sense of joy. I'd always loved painting, but I'd set it aside during my relationship, thinking I didn't have time. As I started healing, I picked up my brushes again. I'd spend hours creating, losing myself in the colors, and I felt a happiness I hadn't known in years. It wasn't just about the painting. It was about reconnecting with a part of myself I'd forgotten. Jung would say that's what healing does. It helps you reclaim the pieces of yourself that got lost along the way. Imagine what that could look like for you. What if healing your heart meant not just surviving your breakup, but thriving in a way you never thought possible? What if you could wake up each day feeling whole, not because someone else loves you, but because you've learned to love yourself? That's the gift Jung offers, a way to turn your pain into a path toward a more meaningful life. It's not always easy, but it's worth every step. And the best part? There are practical ways to start this journey, steps you can take today to begin healing your heart. Let's dive into those next.
Healing your heart after a breakup might sound like a daunting task, but Carl Jung's wisdom gives us a clear path forward. It's not about waiting for the pain to magically disappear. It's about taking small, intentional steps to reconnect with yourself. I've walked this path, and I can tell you that these steps, though simple, are powerful. They helped me move from a place of grief to a place of peace, and I believe they can do the same for you. The first step Jung would encourage is to face your shadow, what he called the hidden parts of yourself that often surface during a breakup. This means looking at the emotions you've been avoiding, like the fear of being alone or the shame of feeling like you failed. For me, This looked like sitting down with a journal and writing about my deepest fears. I asked myself, what am I really afraid of? I wrote about my fear of never being loved again, my anger at myself for ignoring red flags in my relationship, even the sadness I felt for the dreams I'd lost. At first, it was hard. Those feelings were raw, and I wanted to push them away. But as I wrote, I felt a shift. It was like shining a light into a dark corner of my mind. And suddenly, those fears didn't seem so overwhelming anymore. Try this yourself. Take 10 minutes each day to journal about your emotions. Ask, what am I feeling right now? Or, what hurts the most about this breakup? Don't judge what comes up, just let it flow. Jung believed that by facing your shadow, you begin to heal the wounds it holds. It's like cleaning out a closet. You have to see the mess before you can sort it out. And over time, you'll notice those painful emotions starting to lose their grip. The next step is to set boundaries, which Jung saw as a key part of individuation, becoming your true self. After my breakup, I realized I'd spent so much time trying to please my ex that I'd lost sight of my own needs. I'd say yes to things that didn't feel right, just to keep the peace. But healing meant learning to say no, to protect my heart from anything that didn't serve me. I remember the first time I set a boundary after my breakup. I told a friend I couldn't keep listening to her vent about her relationship drama because it was too triggering. It felt uncomfortable, but it also felt liberating, like I was finally standing up for myself. You can start small too. Think about one thing in your life that's draining you. Maybe it's a friend who keeps bringing up your ex, or a habit like endlessly scrolling through your ex's social media. Say no to that and notice how it feels to honor your own needs. Jung would say this is you claiming your space, a crucial step in healing. It's like Neo in the Matrix, learning to break free from the system that held him back, becoming stronger with each choice. Another powerful practice is self-reflection, which Jung saw as a way to connect with your unconscious. Take a few minutes each day to ask yourself, what do I need right now? Or what makes me feel alive? I started doing this by meditating in the mornings, just sitting quietly and listening to my inner voice. One day, I realized I needed to forgive myself for the mistakes I'd made in my relationship. That realization led me to write a letter to myself, acknowledging my flaws but also my worth. It was a small act, but it brought me so much peace. These steps, facing your shadow, setting boundaries, and reflecting on your needs, aren't always easy, but they're doable. You don't need to change everything overnight. Just take one step at a time, and you'll be amazed at how far you can go. Jung believed that every small act of healing is a victory, a step toward becoming your truest self. So, what's one step you can take today? Maybe it's grabbing a journal, saying no to something that doesn't feel right, or asking yourself what you need. Whatever it is, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Let's share this journey together. As we come to the end of this journey together, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've discovered about healing your heart after a breakup. We started by acknowledging the deep pain that comes with losing a relationship. Not just the loss of a partner, but the loss of a part of yourself. That pain, as Carl Jung taught us, isn't just a wound to endure. It's a signal, a call from your unconscious to look within, to face the shadow parts of yourself you've been avoiding. We've seen how those hidden fears and insecurities, when left unaddressed, can keep you trapped in grief, replaying the past over and over. But Jung offered us a way forward, a path to not just survive your breakup, but to transform it into an opportunity for growth. Through Jung's lens, we explored the incredible benefits of this healing process. By facing your shadow, you can find a freedom you didn't know was possible, a lightness that comes from accepting all parts of yourself. This journey of individuation, as Jung called it, helps you become your truest self, no longer defined by someone else's love or expectations. And as you align with that true self, you might notice the universe supporting you in beautiful ways, bringing you new connections, opportunities, and a sense of joy you thought you'd lost. I felt this in my own life, and I know you can too. Healing isn't just about letting go of the past. It's about stepping into a future where you're whole, where you're enough, just as you are. We also walk through practical steps to make this healing real, facing your shadow by journaling your deepest emotions, setting boundaries to protect your heart, and reflecting on what you truly need. These steps, though simple, are powerful. I've seen how they've changed my life, helping me move from a place of emptiness to a place of peace. Jung believed that healing is a lifelong journey, a process of becoming more and more yourself with each step. It's like Santiago in The Alchemist, who discovered that the treasure he sought was within him all along. Your breakup, as painful as it was, can be the beginning of that journey, a chance to find the treasure of your own heart. Now, I want to invite you to take this journey further. Start with one of the steps we talked about. Maybe it's journaling about your feelings, saying no to something that doesn't serve you, or taking a quiet moment to reflect on what you need. Try it for the next 30 days and see how it feels. You might be surprised at the difference it makes. If you want to go deeper, I recommend Jung's Man and His Symbols. It's a beautiful exploration of the unconscious, and there's a link in the description to help you find it. You can also join our online community, where people just like you are sharing their healing journeys. There's a link for that too. This isn't a journey you have to take alone. I'd love to hear how you're healing. What's one step you're taking to mend your heart? Share your story in the comments below, because your words might inspire someone else to start their own journey. We're in this together, building a community of people who are choosing to heal, to grow, to become their truest selves. Thank you for being here with me today. You're not just a viewer, you're part of something bigger, a movement toward healing and wholeness. As you move forward, remember this: you are enough exactly as you are. Your heart may be bruised, but it's also strong, capable of healing in ways you can't yet imagine. Jung believed that the greatest journey is the one within, and a breakup, though painful, can be the start of that adventure. You deserve to feel whole again, to live a life that's truly yours. So, take that first step today, and let's keep walking this path together. I'll see you in the comments, and I can't wait to hear how you're healing.